Maybe this is the end, but we're gonna go out together.
You know I'd ride to the death with you.
Let's get to work.
Please tell me that's not a Pontiac Fiero strapped to a rocket engine?
Hi, Vin. I'm so excited to finally get to talk about this film after such a long delay. Is it weird to be talking about Fast and Furious 9 when you're already working on the finale, or is that actually quite good?
No, it is, Ian. It's very weird. Very strange, very bizarre. You're right. It is, you know, this movie was supposed to come out last year, as you know, and we all went through a year together. But pre-production didn't stop on Fast 10, so I find myself having to hold back telling the world what's to come while we celebrate this 9th chapter.
It's been such a unique experience, you know. I think the final chapter actually, you know, we started a conversation about, I think 9 or 10 years ago. I think Paul was a part of that, you know, and I remember thinking, that's great talking about it, but we'll never realize it, you know? And so it just kind of continued through time. And so when I came back to do 9, Vin pulled me aside and said, hey, we're doing it. We're gonna close this out. And so it's special because it's something that I never thought we realized, you know? And so to be here doing it, I think for me creatively, it is interesting because it's 10 and 11, this final chapter is something that's been developing through the years. And 9 is hopefully hopefully for us to be able to kind of get everything together and hopefully line it up in the right way so we can tonally and to end it in the right direction.
When you decided to come back to the franchise, was there any apprehension about returning, or was it just like an instant yes?
Well, it was when I left, I thought I was gone for good. I had a great run, you know, 4 films. I never, you know, expected to come back. But I think through time, I think, you know, the studio was always very gracious and kind of checking in with me. Vin would call me and we'd catch up, and then he would start talking about Dominic Toretto, which I found very amusing. And like, okay, great, you know, like I'm away, but like, let's keep talking about Dom. And looking back now, I think he was just very clever and kind of maybe planting seeds, you know? And so I think when the idea of, you know, maybe further exploring the theme of family, but through blood, which hadn't been done, I think, you know, in the previous 8 chapters. And I think the idea of that for me, you know, presents an opening to be able to maybe go back and really kind of dig into the beginning of the mythology. I think those are 2 ideas for me that felt like we never done anything like this. And so it was worth coming back and challenging ourselves, see if we can, you know, tell the story.
These films and shooting them, like they're really incredible. And every time I read a script, I'm like, wow, like of course they're doing this. It's Fast and Furious, but it always never like doesn't surprise me when I see what we're doing. And yeah, it's amazing. Like I 3 movies in and I'm still just surprised and, you know, excited by them. So.
And the big thing this time around, forget Han's return, forget Don's long lost brother, it's the fact that Ramsey drives for the first time, obviously.
Yes.
So was that something you were pushing for, that you're like, oh, I just really want to drive a car in a Fast and Furious film, or not?
I definitely wanted her to have like more action. It wasn't necessarily my idea to have her drive. But I really found it so funny when they said, yeah, we're going to have Ramsey drive, but she doesn't know how. And it's obviously funny to me because I don't drive myself. So it was just kind of fun to like laugh at that, at myself and at Ramsey also. It's
now come out in the 20th anniversary of the whole series. So that's actually quite a nice full circle thing. What surprised you over these films about Dom's journey from where we met him back in Fast and Furious to where we see him in Fast 9?
Great question. Obviously, we met him when his whole world was about brotherhood. And I think we met Dom Toretto when he was maybe not so optimistic about the world, and maybe not convinced that he would ever even become a father. It's so interesting because there's a scene in Fast Five when he's encouraging Brian to embrace fatherhood. And what we don't realize is that he, in that moment, didn't feel like the world was a good enough place to raise children in. And then we get to Fast 9, and now he's a father and forced to reflect. I think that's a huge statement about the franchise. I think we embrace our characters evolving on screen in a real way, and I think that's a testament to its success in many ways.
And it's your first time, if I'm correct, co-writing a Fast and Furious movie as well.
I mean, the writing process has always been the same, you know. It just happened that I think this time that the crediting, you know, but I think, you know, it's always been the same, but you know, I think this time, I think coming back, having this idea, I think it just, you know, it was just a credit issue. But yeah, when we make these movies, you know, it usually starts off with me and Vin, you know, and we just keep going and we just grind and we grind, you know, and it's such a special, unique way of making films, because I've done other films, TV, nothing's ever like this process-wise, you know. It's I feel like we joke on set that we're making the biggest indie movie in history, you know, and that's the spirit of how we make these movies.
How difficult was it to work out how to bring Han back? Because obviously it's such a huge part of this film as well. Were there many iterations it went through, or were you pretty much set from the get-go what it was? No.
I personally, you know, when I left, he was gone for good, right? And I think the whole movement, Justice for Han, I give the fans all the credit. You know, when I found out why it existed, I was equally baffled and maybe a little upset, you know, and I felt like it needed to be corrected. And yeah, it's not an easy thing. Like I don't wake up every day wanting to bring back dead characters. You know, I don't think that's so, but I felt like this one was important, and we did go through many iterations, and ultimately, I felt like it deserved its own film in a way, and a reason for why he wasn't part of this family for that duration, and you know, it was an approach that I felt like, you know, hopefully I can share with the audience in this film, but only in spots. And that hopefully in further installments and hopefully as the universe is lucky enough to expand, that we're going to be able to kind of dig into that.
Were you involved in much of that Edinburgh sequence? Because I know a second unit does a lot of stunts for Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
How much were you involved?
So sort of the stuff before I get into the van, obviously I was in Edinburgh, and then the stuff of me driving, the footage of me driving was in a soundstage, and the truck was stationary, and they sort of move it to match the sort of the rocking of a moving car, and so that was much more safe for me and everyone else, that I wasn't actually driving the truck, but it was that wasn't I was shooting in Edinburgh, but not for the actual driving. So.
And as you say, you pushed for Ramsey to have something more to do in this, and a general thing about Fast 9 is that the female characters actually get action, they get their own moments. What is left in this franchise that you want to do next? Do you want that kind of crunching fight scene as well? Like I'd love a fight scene.
I think it would be so fun. I've done fight scenes on other things and I really enjoy them. I really enjoy learning the choreography. So that would be really fun. But I think it would be kind of hilarious if, like, at the beginning of Fast 10, we see Ramsey getting her driver's license, like getting stamped by the light instructor, like, like, yay, she did it. No, but definitely like some more action and fight stuff would be really cool. For sure. Because after watching Michelle and Jordana and Anna in this movie, I was like, hell yeah, let's get some let's get involved with that.
Well, we get another great additions and more to the Fast universe with like John Cena and Cardi B and that. But is there still people on your like dream casting list that you just hope to bring in before the end of the series? Do you keep that to yourself?
Well, that's a great question because, you know, we've got Charlize, we've got Michael Rooker, we've got Cardi B, we've got Helen Mirren, we've got, you know, Statham, we've got Dwayne, we've got so many people that we brought into the franchise. Who else would I want? On a personal, I would just love to have my mate, Michael Caine be a part of it. That, you know, he's a part of Witch Hunter. And so grateful to have worked with him on the last Witch Hunter. I think you have to wait for Fast 10 to see who's coming.